Good morning. Our opening word this morning. There is too much beauty in this world to give up on it yet. And it is always too soon to surrender to cynicism. Bring your doubt, your skepticism, your downright confusion, even your bitterness. But in the midst of all these, in the center, wrap your tender fingers around that still bright thread of hope. Feel in your heart that still steady hunger for something more, the vision we glimpse every day in the rising sun across the foothills, the light that spreads across the face of the one we love, the look of knowing all there is to know in still loving life, loving us just as it is, just as we are. For this hour we come to celebrate, to praise, to give thanks, to refuse to give up, to steady ourselves, keepers of hope, brave builders of that still possible world. It is good to be together. Good morning and welcome. I'm the Reverend C.J. McGregor, your district minister, and I'm grateful to be with you this morning and will be leading the service, if that's not obvious. And welcome to those joining us online and to those joining us for the first time. Our chalice lighter this morning is Lucy. In times of darkness, we stumble towards the tiny flame. In times of cold, we seek the warming fire. In times of repression, we reach for the lamp of truth. In times of loss, we pray for the comforting light. In times of joy, we light candles of celebration. In spirit of life, as we kindle this light, help us find what we need here, now, today. Let us join in the spirit of prayer. Spirit of life, love which holds us, we gather in reverence and thank you. We are grateful for the gift of another breath and for each moment of connection, beauty, and truth. Cry with us in our pain for the world. Remind us that we are loved just as we are. Remind us that we are connected with all that is. And remind us that we do not journey alone. Give us what we need here and now and today. And call us back to our promises, our commitments, our values, and help us love ourselves and each other. And to show that love is in our actions. Make us instruments of justice, equity, and compassion. We declare that life and love are stronger than tyranny and fear, and that a world of beauty and love is coming, and we must shape it together. May it be so. Amen. And now please join in singing hymn number 100, May I Be Filled with Loving Kindness. Our first reading this morning is titled The Inherent Wholeness of Every Being by the Reverend Erica Hewitt. We who are Unitarian not only affirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person, we also affirm the inherent wholeness of every being, despite apparent brokenness. No one listening to these is a stranger to pain or the knowledge that things break or break down. Promises, friendships, sobriety, hope, communication. This breaking happens because our human hearts and our very institutions are frail and imperfect. We make mistakes and life is messy. Brokenness happens. We're intimately acquainted with brokenness, then, even as we believe that no matter how fractured we are or once were, we can make whole people of ourselves. We are whole at our core because of the great, unnameable, sometimes inconceivable love in which we live. As Unitarians, we believe that paying attention to something is an act of love. Witnessing and naming brokenness is how we begin to heal it. And healing begins when we examine what's in pain, wonder how it occurred, and allow it to teach us. In fact, sometimes the brokenness is immense. The only grasp, the only power we have over that large and complicated pain looming over us is to bear witness, to tell its story, and to seek out companions and helpers who are willing to agree that, yes, there is something breaking or messy in front of us, and we will not leave or even look away until the repair has begun. If love begins with attention, repair takes the form of compassion, bearing witness, and speaking out. Repair looks like connection, justice, or even revolution. It looks like after-school tutoring programs, community meals, and holding signs in front of city halls. And it begins by placing full trust and faith that there is inherent wholeness. There is inherent wholeness in every broken situation. And so ends the reading. And now please join in singing hymn number 98, Love Will Guide Us. Once read that laughter makes you generous. Laughter makes you generous. And so I have a little tradition before the offertory is to tell a joke because I think we should laugh more in church. So there was a little girl and she was missing her goldfish. And eventually she found it and the goldfish had died. So she began digging a hole in her garden. And the next door neighbor looked over the fence and said, "What are you doing?" And she said, "My goldfish died and I'm burying it to say goodbye." And the man said, "That's an awful big hole for a goldfish." And the little girl said, "That's because he's inside your cat." If you're a cat lover, please no letters, emails, or texts. The offering we take each Sunday isn't just a stale habit. It's an opportunity to recommit to this place and this people. And our offering is an affirmation, a yes. And when we give, we say something to something we value. We offer our gifts that are freely given, and may we say yes to the values of our wonderful faith. And may our offering help us live these values within and beyond these walls. A reminder that if you're using a card to make your offering, you may use the card reader after the service. The morning offering will be given and received. Our second reading is a poem titled "You Are Tired" by E.E. Cummings. You are tired, I think, of the always puzzle of living and doing, and so am I. Come with me, then, and we'll leave it far, far away. Only you and I understand. You have played, I think, and broke the toys you were fondest of, and are a little tired now. Tired of things that break and just tired. So am I. But I come with a dream in my eyes tonight and knock with a rose at the hopeless gate of your heart. Open to me, for I will show you the places nobody knows. And if you like, the perfect places to sleep. Come with me. I'll blow you that wonderful bubble, the moon, that floats forever and a day. I'll sing you the Jacinta song of the probable stars. I will attempt the unstartled steps of dream until I find the only flower which shall keep, I think, your little heart while the moon comes out of the sea. And so ends the reading. And now let us join in a few minutes of silence, meditation, and reflection. Thank you. This morning, I'd like us to think about brokenness. And I know what you might be thinking. Oh, good. I made my way here this morning to be told I'm broken. But I would never bring you to that dark place without showing you the way out. I will offer you the beauty, the advantages, the blessing of brokenness. So fear not. I first want to tell you what I think a blessing is and why I use this word. I see a blessing as something I'm grateful for without religious context. And as I thought about the blessing of brokenness, my father came to mind. You see, as a hobby, he built furniture and restored furniture, and I can still see his workshop and smell the sawdust and the wood stain vapors. He escaped to this place, and I know building and restoring furniture was like meditation for him. I regularly read posts by Christian pastor Tony Evans, and Pastor Evans tells us we've all seen restored furniture. Restoring furniture involves stripping away the old varnish or paint, and this reveals all the old scratches, the gouges, and spots on the piece. And then the sanding takes place. The wood is rubbed with coarse sandpaper to smooth out its imperfections. Then the furniture is ready to receive a new stain or paint color. New glory can be given to old furniture, he says. In the brokenness of the old furniture, my father could see and uncover the beauty and blessing within that brokenness. And this is how I understand brokenness. Within it, there is revelation and new life. And we shouldn't run from being broken. Even though it's not pleasant, it will produce meaning in our lives. Brokenness is a blessing because it puts us on the road to discovery. Emotional and spiritual brokenness can mean a lot of things. It may imply a messy life full of imperfection. It may mean being heartbroken from a past relationship. It may mean emotional scarring from the deep wounds of the past. And sometimes brokenness makes us a victim. For others, it motivates us to be strong. With some, life seems so incongruent due to the brokenness that they don't know how to stay true to themselves. It has even become a trendy word that gives some people a sense of identity. I'm broken. There are a lot of different ways that we could define the meaning of brokenness. In our second reading this morning, E. Cummings makes that clear. In his poem, he recognizes how people are feeling fed up with how and what the world has become, tired of the brokenness, calling life a puzzle, and offers us comfort in this poem. He tries to help us out of this state, and he writes, "Find a perfect place to sleep. Perhaps these places, those perfect places to sleep, are the blessing of brokenness." I was reading a message by a group of priests that follow the tradition of St. Francis of Assisi. In one of their posts on brokenness, they write, "We are all broken. We think of this as our biggest liability, but the reality is that beauty in our brokenness is overwhelming." Cancer, addiction, chronic pain, anxiety, poor physical fitness, depression, job burnout. No one I know wants experiences like these, but everyone has some. I recently read an article. I've been doing a lot of reading on brokenness in a journal of experimental psychology. And it asks the question, does that mean we are somehow diminished if we are broken? Are we diminished? And not at all, I say. We come into the world as small bundles of need, utterly dependent on our parents or other caregivers, unable to control even the movements of our limbs. Our will is frail and flawed, yet we grow. We are told to seize the day, hold the fort, and take charge of our future. We are fed with illusions of control and individuality, and we begin to believe that sanity consists of the ability to shape our world to our own desires. Our entertainment features actors and athletes who are strong, beautiful, and powerful. Our cultural narratives promote constant self-improvement, rising above our humble beginnings and eliminating our flaws. And we learn to fear our weaknesses as cracks in the armor that protect us from harm. I think that's all backward. There is a book titled Just Mercy by Brian Stevenson, and we're told about his experience as a legal advocate for the wrongly accused or those sentenced harshly. And the book profiles many people, but focuses on Walter McMillan, a Black man wrongly accused of murder and sentenced to death. Stevenson writes, "You see, it is our brokenness that connects us to others. We tend to feel like we won't have the relationship we want until we are better. But in reality, all of us are incomplete. We all need each other to function. And it is in this giving and receiving that ties us all together." And we have been given an opportunity to share in healing love, not only by loving others with their flaws, but also allowing others to love us in our brokenness. And accepting our own dependency is essential to participating in this beautiful reciprocal gift that is human life. Yet for thousands of years, we haven't achieved acceptance. Why? We are afraid. Fear. The more we reach and grasp for control, certainty, security, and vulnerability, the more our limitations threaten us. Like quicksand, the harder we struggle and fight to rid ourselves of weakness, the more we are trapped in fear. And as I told you moments ago, fear not. To follow this advice means embracing our brokenness rather than battling it. We lean into it and allow it to touch us. And like when we imagine ourselves in quicksand, the more we contact our need, our dependence, the less it sucks us down, and the more of our weight it will bear for us. It is beautiful to know someone who embraces their humanity in all its imperfections. Let me reveal some imperfections close to me. My humanity through imperfection. My cousin recently died after a long battle with cancer. He was 49 years old. And we spoke a lot over the past year, and we were pretty close as children because he lived across the street from where I lived. He fought cancer, and he and his wife shared their struggles, their disappointments, and their triumphs, asking and allowing others to support them. Humanity in their weaknesses, exposing their weaknesses and calling on interdependence. And his physical weakness prompted an outpouring of love from those who knew him. And this couple's suffering invited others to enter into their humanity more fully, united others in supporting them, and prompted a beautiful sharing of love. And the community quite literally came alive around them. And my brother has a more private struggle. I have his permission to talk about this. He faces a powerful addiction to drugs and alcohol. And when he shared this with me, it allowed me to see a different aspect of his humanity and to know him more in his brokenness. He revealed his weakness in his humanity. And seeing him more as he is, with less pretense, is beautiful. Being asked to support him has also forced me to confront my own failings, my impatience, and my selfishness. His vulnerable request for help has brought us into a deeper relationship and closer contact with my humanity and neediness, while gifting me with an opportunity to love despite my faults. Earlier this week, I read an article describing the life of Saint Irenaeus, not one of the most popular saints. The article said, "Moments of vulnerability and human beauty make being a minister rewarding. And those I serve, often much closer to their brokenness. They have felt it, struggled with it, and know they have been unable to overcome or fix it. They know they have needs. They take risks. They allow themselves to peel back the layers of mask that have sheltered them from the world and let me know them." We may be talking about depression, Isolation, loneliness, the moment we may be shrouded in tears, breaking out of a shell is often painful. But the moment is also marked by intense vitality. In the revealing and responding, knowing and being known, we are also amazingly and unmistakably alive. And I understand why Saint Irenaeus said, "The glory of God is man fully alive." And so we too are fully alive. And as a minister, I watch many struggle deeply with brokenness, and I too have the same struggles. Yet there is hope for us. Out of a fractured heart over grief, pain, shame, guilt, our work is to produce humility in each other. Humility that allows us to recognize and come to grips with our brokenness. We all struggle with brokenness on our journey because we are all broken. And much of what troubles us comes out of the broken places in our hearts, crying out for some sort of relief. And we are all broken and wounded in this world. And some choose to grow strong at the broken places. I discovered that one's suffering and brokenness often amplify our helplessness and truly expose our need for interdependency. The reason brokenness is a blessing is how we can use it. It is something that can draw us near to one another. Brokenness makes room for a contrite heart and repentance to bring us back into fellowship with one another when we have miserably failed. It is not lovely in and of itself. It is not the end of a journey. It is not a title to be used for identity. It's not a word to use when you want to feel authentic. Emotional and spiritual brokenness itself is messy and sad. But as our eyes are open to truth amid that brokenness, and we begin to see the promise of the binding up of that which was broken, we once again have hope. There is strength in brokenness. When we are broken, we see the frailty of human strength and come to grips with the reality that we can do nothing in our own strength. Then new strengths emerge. Do not fear brokenness, for it may be the missing ingredient to a life that emerges with a new kind of strength and experience not known before. And our brokenness allows us to begin to care for ourselves and find out how to ease ourselves. And how do we find acceptance even at our most susceptible point? When we begin to love ourselves and realize our interdependency. I leave you with the words of Julie Lefebvre as she talks about hope in the brokenness. She writes, "We begin to know that even our brokenness is a part of who we are, and that we can live with that, and that we are still whole, even though parts of ourselves are wounded." May it be so. Please join in singing hymn number 128, "Our World is One World." Please rise. Friends, thank you for your witness to all that exists on the margins, and thank you for your commitment to hold yourselves and one another in great and steadfast love. Moving forward from this place, may we continue to nurture spiritual growth. May we continue to travel along the winding pathway to healing from whatever brokenness we individually and collectively hold, knowing that we do not journey this path alone. Blessed be. And now we'll extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we hold in our hearts until we are together again. I was told someone would be making announcements. Good.